So folks, today I'm going to take you through a conversation that I have with almost every business that's looking to raise money. Almost. So the question I always want to know when people say, we need to raise this amount of money, the question I ask, have you got a one-pager? And sometimes people might have a pitch deck, sometimes they'll have nothing. But let me assure you that the most important document, if you're looking for funding, is your one-page summary. Because we're right back to Albert Einstein. When we ran our funding business, we had right on the front page of the website, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And if you can't explain it simply to an investor with their language and what they want to hear, then you definitely don't understand the funding world well enough. And that's why less than 1% of pre-revenue startups get funded. So there's the problem. The solution is understanding what language, what things bring an investment alive. And the first thing is a clear summary. From the title, the name of the business and the strapline, you should have some idea of what it does. So let me give you an example of a pitch I saw once, and quite frankly, it wasn't a very good pitch, but the strapline was phenomenal. So what they were talking about was that they were the Uber for motorbikes. Now, straight away, you've got an idea what the business does just from their title and their strapline. So that gives you an example of what I'm talking about here. And the next thing is explaining a thing called investor highlights. Now, investor highlights are really important. They're things that tell you that the business has got value without needing to explain anything else. Let me give you an example of the sort of things that will go in investor highlights. That it's patented or patent pending. That tells me straight away, with knowing nothing about the business at all, that there's something unique there. Second thing is money invested so far. That tells me that it's obviously some traction there, or an investor wouldn't have put their money in. Whether you're generating income, now most startups aren't at that stage when they're going to get funded, but if you are for any reason, you want your figures there. And investment so far. So any grant funding that you've got, it shows that you've gone through an application course that's done it. So there's lots of different things that can go in the investor highlights, but they're all to do with traction. Things like 50,000 followers on Twitter or whatever, shows you've got an audience. These are things that validate that there might be something there without needing to know anything else about the business. So investor highlights are really important. The problem that you solve. Now, you have to assume that no one knows your market, and so they don't know what problem it is you solve. So if you're selling a cybersecurity solution, you might say something like 3 out of 4 IT professionals are worried about their current cybersecurity online. If you can find little nuggets like this, it brings the problem alive from a broader perspective. So define the problem and then the solution, and you'll need something unique. What's your unique selling point? And for most startup businesses, that's you and the team. And if you don't think your team have got the requisite experience to go out and do it, then what you need to do is start putting together an advisory board so that you do have people there that will give you people confidence in the business. So there you go. There's just a few things to consider with your one-pager and getting it succinct and getting it in there. Because if you go on any investor network site, when they send emails out to their investors, there's not a lot of information on it. And then you start to realize how people over-explain things on first contact, and that's why a lot of people not only not get funded, but won't even get a response from the funders that you're sending them to. So there you go, folks. A few top tips on putting together your one-pager. And if you're still struggling, send it to me or have a chat, and that's something I can help you with.